In this segment, the sleuth pushes Sal Khan to talk about what he and his wife want for their own young children in terms of technology. What's the right age to introduce kids to screens? How much is too much? And how important are test scores?
A couple times you mentioned your kids, and I know you're very proud of your young kids, and I'm curious. You said that they're sort of they're my lodestone, they're my metric. Do what I want. That. What's the right age for them to be introduced in school to some of this digital technology, to these tools?
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're in a new world now, and we've all had the experience of our 18-month-old picking up an iPad and going to town with it, and you're like, is this good or is this bad? And part of you feels, well, is it passive like TV? Is it, is it gonna, they're not gonna turn active, but they are choosing what they want to do. It is in a strange way. It's not as tactile as like something with texture, but they are. There's something neat that this is the first generation that as young as 18 months, and I saw it with my son and daughter, is that they're able to, they don't have to, they're less dependent on someone else to find what show they want to watch. An 18-month-old can't communicate that well. But I've seen my own children and others, now they have that agency where they can say, I want to watch that cartoon, and there's some great apps out there. So I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by now, in all things, it's all about moderation, right? Like even a book, if every parent wants their child to read. Reading is a wonderful experience. But if all you did is read, and if reading started to squeeze out the opportunity to go outside and run and play, and because you were reading so much you didn't socialize and you didn't interact with people, even that would be an issue. And so I always view the lens of, well, there are some things that are objectively bad, right? Like if you're just sitting there doing nothing and watching, a trashy television show and you're 3 years, that's not a good activity. But if you're doing something that's interesting, that's engaging, hey, that could be. We don't know. I haven't done the study on it. But as long as it's not squeezing out time outside, the ability to run and play, the ability to socialize and interact, then, hey, let's see where it goes. But, I would apply that lens to everything. I would apply that even to the traditional classroom model. If a student is sitting in a chair, passive, wow, they're not able to interact with each other. They're not able to get up. They're not able to exercise their natural desire to move around. That's also an issue.
So when you're looking, for school for your kids, which will be coming up pretty soon, you'll have some choices. There are schools where there's basically low tech, chalk, blackboard, until 7th grade, and then there are schools. Right now, I was in one this morning or yesterday where the kindergartners are doing some stuff with this digital technology. Do you have a sense of where you and your wife would come down?
Yeah, so once again, for me, it's not technology or not technology. I think that's the wrong lens to look at it. And I think, unfortunately, in too much in education, people say, I want to look modern, let me put technology in the school. Let me drop iPads in there. Let me drop Khan Academy in there. They're like, now we're going to be modern. And that's not the point. The whole point is, whether you're a parent or whether you're an educator, to say, okay, what's the ideal experience here? The ideal experience is having an environment that fosters creativity, that fosters self-direction, that fosters interaction with their peers. So that's what I want to look for. So if I find a school where they're not using Khan Academy at all, but the kids are getting time to interact with each other, there's kind of personalized learning plans, kids are really mastering concepts, they're internalizing it, not just through multiple choice, but really doing hands-on projects, inquiry, exploring. They're able to do some of what I used to get to do with Ms. Roussel and Ms. Krause. That's the school that I, in an ideal world, would want to have my kids attend. Now, if there's a school that does that and they use technology, that's great too. There's great skills. You can learn to program a computer, build robots, whatever else, even do art using technology. That's great. But for me, I care much more about an environment that's interactive, where there's self-direction. That's what I care about, technology or not, rather than an environment that maybe they have all the technology in the world. They have a supercomputer, they have everything. But if the kids are just sitting there all day, having to be passive, having to observe all day, and essentially just having to perform on a very narrow set of exams, and that's all they're measured on, and that's all they're kind of pushed to do, I think I don't care how much technology they have. That's not what I want for my child. The last thing I would want for my own kids is a year of taking multiple choice questions and learning how to game a test, right? That's not learning. The ideal is that they have a really rich holistic experience, a creative experience, an experience that is personalized for their strengths and weaknesses, an experience where they get to engage with their peers, where they get to pursue creative things. And through that process, it is guided in a way that they reach those developmental milestones that they need to reach. And when they're given a test, and once again, a test is a sample. No test is perfect, but it's at least attempting to measure what performance or developmental milestones you are at. And so the test should just fall out of that. So that's the ideal. So there's nothing wrong with a test as long as the test is viewed as an imperfect means to measuring one aspect of where someone is. But when a test becomes the end and everything is geared towards performance on that test, then I think you have a serious problem.